Are you an astronomy aficionado? Do you love or like to look into the night sky? If so, I'm going to discuss the Bootids meteor showers and some tips on how to view them. Now, I'm not 100% certain, but today there were multiple reports of a fireball. There were 100. Now, there are other meteor showers at this time. However, I'm not going to discuss those. I'm going to just discuss the Bootids. As you can see here, there's quite a few reports. There was just one photograph on this website. However, there were multiple videos and it was quite large. So it may or may not have been the Bootids. Okay, now how to view the Bootids meteor shower. First thing I would say is you could use a website like this one, which is the inthesky.org. And what you could do is just change the location and enter in your state or location. I think you could possibly enter in your latitude and longitude. Then that way it knows where you're located and it will help you distinguish where in the sky to look. This one was just random, and I didn't choose this, but this is from Washington State in the United States. And these are prevalent in the month of June, but that could certainly change. In the future, these tips are still productive to view these meteor showers. First thing you want to know is the most active time. And then during that window, then you would want to find out where in the sky to look, and you'd need to know your location, obviously, and you may want to know the longitude and latitude. Okay. So this month is going to peak on the 27th, but it will be viewable. They will be viewable from the 22nd of June to the 2nd of next month. Okay. And you want to look wherever the radiant point is. The radiant point is the highest point in the sky is what that means. So you want to look for the radiant point and the constellation Bootids, which is above the horizon. So here's an example right here. You know what I'm saying? Now this is just an example of Washington. The radiant point, again, which is the highest point in the sky, is above the horizon, and that means that meteor shower will be active throughout the hours of darkness. Now, what I forgot to tell you is this was during the day. It was the middle of, well, I wouldn't say the middle of the day, but it was during the day. And it was huge. I mean, you could tell it was a meteor, and it was a huge fireball. Well, I mean, to me it looked like it was a meteor, but it was just a big fireball in the sky in the middle of the day. You couldn't miss it, you know what I'm saying? Yes, the radiant point just means that it culminates the highest in the sky, and then before nightfall. Now, this is for Washington State, but the time is in a different time zone, but it would be approximately midnight. And that is when the meteor shower will produce the best displays after dusk. So anytime after dusk, and then anytime before dawn. You know what I'm saying? But you want to look when the radiant point is as high as possible, the highest in the sky. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here. They should have put this information that they include at the end up further, or put it in the same section on tips. Let's see where it was at. Okay, they gave you some tips on how to view. Yes, the best place to look for a meteor shower, including the Bootids, is not directly at the radiant itself, which would be the highest point in the sky. Any dark patch of sky, which is around the number 30 to 40 degrees away from it. So first you want to look for the radiant, right? And then you want to look away from it, 30 to 40 degrees away from the center. At around this distance from the highest point in the sky, also known as radiant, is where the most meteors will be viewable. And then when you determine the position of the highest point in the sky, also known as a radiant, then it will allow you to work out the orbit and then giving rise to any particular shower. Okay. Something about debris stream. If there is a known comet or asteroid with a very similar orbit. Okay. Yeah, this is for all meteor showers, I believe. All the meteors associated with any particular shower, they will radiate from a common point. And this is not drawn to scale in the sky. So then here's another image of the sight lines right here. And I thought that was that image. Where was another image? I might be thinking of this one. Okay, now I'm going to discuss just further details that they included here. I have about 2 minutes. But that's basically how you view a meteor shower. You need to know your location. You might want to know your longitude, latitude. And then unless you're a more proficient astronomer and you know where the different constellations are, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people like that. If not, you can use a website like inthesky.org or any astronomy website where you can look up your location, and then it will help you. And I'm assuming that some of the newer artificial intelligence, quote-unquote, smart telescopes, you may actually be able to enter in your location, and then you may be able to just type in the meteor shower, and it may actually tell you where to look. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm not sure if this is a real image or not. All right. The example was Washington State. The Earth's rotation turns Washington to face optimally towards the direction of these incoming meteors, which can maximize the number that rain vertically downwards. Yeah, and they do rain downwards. Yes, they do. Now, in the thumbnail, this image is an example of a meteor shower, and that's why when I found out that there was 100 at least. Now, this is just one website. This is the amsmeteors.org, the official American Meteor Society, I think, their official website, which was quite slow, and it was my internet connection, and maybe they need donations, or I don't know. Anyways, multiple reports, and I saw one video, and it was huge. You know what I'm saying? And they do rain down. So you look up, you look for the radiant, and then you look outwards around the radiant, and you look for any objects that are falling down towards the Earth, towards you, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Okay, anything further? Do they mention anything more about the Bootids? Now, in the future, this is still a productive video, because I gave you tips in the beginning, where to look, how to look up your location, the days. The days will be different, but you just have to look into that type of information. Okay, something about the particles in a particular stream. Yes, meteors are associated with any particular meteor. They can be distinguished from each other because of their paths. Yes, they appear to radiate outwards from the radiant, which is a common point in the sky, which then that points back to the direction of their orbital motion that is brought by them. The grit particles in any stream are traveling in the same direction when they actually come across the Earth's orbit. They have very similar orbits to the parent object they come from. They will strike the Earth from exactly the same direction and even at the same speed. Now here's a tip. To see the most meteors, the best place to look in the sky, I already went over that, is not directly at the radiant itself, which is the highest in the sky, which is in the middle. But you want to look for any dark patches and then look 30 to 40 degrees away from it. Okay? Obviously binoculars, well, that whatever that object was, to me it looked like a meteor. Your natural eyes could view it. Now, because of light pollution, the time of the day, now that was the middle of the day, so a lot of meteors you're not going to be able to see, but that it was so large, and it was a fireball, and it was obviously coming towards the earth. No. I don't fearmonger. There's a lot of shills on YouTube that fearmonger and clickbait just to get you to view. No, but that's what happens. But during the night, there could be light pollution. You may want to drive away from a large metropolitan area with light pollution. There may be a local observatory that is higher elevation that may help. You know what I'm saying? Binoculars, telescopes, whatever you need. But a lot of these showers are, like you notice in this, well, this is just for this entire website. But you might be able to view them, with your natural eyes. Good luck. Adios.